Halfway through.
Ooh.
What does it feel like?
When will you realize
Vienna waits for you.
I don't understand why you
What is up, Watch fam? I am Christian, the curator of the Theo and Harris Watch Shop.
I am Michael, and this video is sponsored by Squarespace.
I love Squarespace.
Do you want a website or domain? Then head to squarespace.com/TheoHarris to save 10% on your first order of a website or domain.
The only generator of websites and domains I recommend, Squarespace.
Yeah.
So,
When I read that, I feel like I made it. Like I'm on a podcast episode that I like.
Yeah, Squarespace?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Squarespace. Okay, Krill, what are we talking about today?
Okay, Krill. Today we have three things to talk
I'm looking for a
about.
photo. I'm not ignoring
Yeah,
it.
and
I'm
I don't know
looking
what the
for
hell
a
you're doing.
photo that's
It's on his
relevant
phone.
to what you were talking about.
Oh, by the way, tell me what you're wearing. I know what you're wearing, but what's with that strap too?
What are you wearing? Like,
Hey.
right now? Two tigers.
I
Do you get that
changed.
reference?
No, I just thought that was
Starsky and
funny.
Hutch, two
Oh.
tigers. No. Anyway, anyone that's out there with Starsky and Hutch, two tigers. Okay.
What are you wearing right now?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Anyway, I'm wearing my jump hour watch. I hadn't worn it in a little while. You know what's funny? I was actually thinking about this before. Like, oh, it just went to 11. You missed it.
Oh, damn.
God.
You're off by 5 minutes.
It's my. Is it? Am I?
Yeah, it's 11:06.
I always do that. I'm wearing my jump hour watch. I got this watch for my college graduation. I don't wear it that often. I'm going to start wearing it a lot more. Honestly, like, there's no reason I don't wear it often. It's a beautiful watch that I absolutely adore,
fantastic.
and there's no reason I don't wear it more often. And I'm going to start wearing it more often. It's as simple as that. So,
Simple as pie and as easy as cake.
Yeah.
Drag it on the mic and make him dribble and
I
shake.
don't know what you're talking about. The only
You gotta stop doing that.
the only thing I would do,
Yeah.
which I have considered, and I think I might do it. It wouldn't be original. It would be aftermarket.
Sure.
And custom.
Yeah.
But I would have a white gold or a platinum case made for this.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be
Because
cool.
this right now is steel.
Yeah.
So I would have
White gold would be cool.
White gold or platinum.
Yeah. I'm wearing the Oris 36 pointer. Big
That's a
crown.
great watch.
Oh my god. Anything in 36, I'm like, wow, this is the best watch in the world. But this is actually an incredible watch. Perfectly sized.
We're producing a commercial for Oris now. Michael and I were laughing on the phone the other day because what are our subjects for today before we continue?
Oh, yes, sorry. Our subjects, real quick, we'll go over the first two. A Vacheron Constantin 222, a rebirth from the 70s.
Yep.
An IWC ceramic chronograph, just because a lot of people have been DMing me because it's white. So that's great. And then finally, the Moonswatch mess up. Swatch dropped the ball, and I don't think you know about it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So yeah, they kind of messed everybody up all of a sudden. So I'll tell you about
I
that.
was going to find out about that.
Yeah.
So we're doing a commercial for Oris, and we were laughing the day because we really like Oris. Oris is a fantastic company.
Yeah.
We've been saying that for years before we started doing business with Oris, which we're doing now.
Yes.
So it's not. We're
Which
not
is
lying,
true.
Right?
Right,
It's true.
right.
But it was funny because Michael and I are incredibly efficient people. We are very, very effective. We have deadlines, and we're always on time and under budget. Right? Always
Yep.
on time and under
Yep.
budget. And with Oris, they gave us just they're like, yeah, let's just produce this over the course of the next 3 months or 4 months. And I was like, usually it's like, let's produce this immediately.
In a week. We need it next
And
week.
we get it done in a week, you know? We get done in a week what most companies can't do, period. But those that even can do it, which they can't, but those that can, it takes them weeks to do it.
Yeah, right.
Months.
Right.
And then Oris told us, like, yeah, it's like an open-ended. Let's just do it whenever. And
oh,
it's
man,
taking 3 months.
Is that confusing
Yeah,
or what?
it's-
I'm like, so what is it about? You're like, you know what it's about. I'm
You
like,
gotta stop.
Why do they need so long?
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah. Anyways, I figure we'll go over those two things first, and then we'll hop into the big thing.
Go. So first, VC.
First, VC. You probably seen this and are aware of it. This is the
I've owned
222.
222s before. I mean, I've owned the original ones.
This is strikingly similar to the original one. They didn't really change too much besides the clasp, which is a very, very smooth clasp.
Yes.
Any thoughts on this watch?
I mean, I love it. I love VC. Big fan. If you guys haven't seen the Vacheron Constantin commercial that we made, the link is down below. Definitely go take a look.
Yep.
I love VC. I love the 222. It was not designed by Gerald Genta. I believe it was designed by
Someone else.
George Heisek?
I think you're right. Yep.
Fantastic design. Obviously, a child of the Genta, era.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
But I think beautiful and not innovative, but beautiful and original. They did a great job.
Yeah, when it was time to have a watch like this, if you were a serious contender, I feel like VC stepped up.
Yes, I agree. obviously this is a reissue, and they do get a 0 for originality. They do.
It literally, if you held the original and this new one up, you would have a very tough time telling.
Yes.
Down to, I thought the new thing would be this little emblem in the bottom right.
I love the
Me too.
the Maltese cross.
I think this is people's favorite detail about the watch. The little Maltese cross in the bottom right.
Yes, it's some people's least favorite detail about the watch.
Do you know anyone?
Well, yeah, I know quite a few people. I mean, the Maltese cross is a bit of a.
Tell me about it.
Oh, it was a symbol of the Crusades. So it's yeah. So I have some clients that don't like.
They don't buy VCs.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I happen to love that detail.
I think it's incredible.
It's
yeah.
Great.
Just the little case decoration outside of. Well, I guess on the case, but outside of the dial. Love that. They can't overdo it. You can't put it on like each one.
No,
that's like a nice little tag.
I think it's great. I absolutely love it. But I guess I'm just interested to see, and what are your thoughts on where will it? Okay, one thing and then that.
Sure.
One thing, 0 for originality, no problem with that. I think that they should always have a 222 in their collection. It's like the same way that the Gucci loafer was perfect when it was introduced. It's still sold. I still buy them. Right,
Yep.
1953, they're still being bought. Brilliant.
Yes.
Should be done.
Yes.
So you don't need, not everything needs to be original. That being said, I am interested to see how this 222 might become a little small collection with other unique
the thing
things.
I saw. Yeah, right.
What would you hope for out of this?
Out of this?
Not this particular watch, but next year, the year after, if they were to introduce variations of the 222, modern variations, what would you want to see?
You know, it's interesting. The article I read about it was like, you wouldn't take this biking or anything like that. I would love to see a version of this that is sportier, and only in terms of material.
Yeah.
Like that could do a lot.
Yeah.
Actually make it a sports watch. That'd be a lot of fun. Whether it be stainless steel, titanium, or anything like that. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I could see the 222. One, I could see it a little bit larger,
37 millimeters. It's pretty small.
which I love.
Yeah,
I
same.
love that.
They kept it the same.
I could definitely see it go up to 39.
Yep.
Be more of like a jumbo competitor. I definitely think you're right with titanium. That could be very cool.
That'd be dope.
That'd be very cool. I would
Because it's so sleek and integrated, though.
Yep.
Woo.
And then, like a kind of a matching dial, or maybe a dial with some color or whatever. I could see that larger and then alternative.
Yeah. I could also see them taking this in the route of the Zenith Defy.
Yeah.
Because it's integrated in the case shape is similar, but I could see them doing that at a smaller size.
Agreed.
This $62,000.
I mean, it's okay. So, what are the comps? I know. What for you? What are the comps?
That I personally would get instead of this.
No, like if we're gonna decide whether this is appropriately priced, what do you compare it to?
What do you look at? You look at a Royal Oak.
Yellow gold Royal Oak,
You look at
rose gold Nautilus.
because what's interesting with those, I feel like, is like those are just so famous
the
of the
Nautilus
brand.
is 51,000.
Okay,
So
this is
51
62
compared to 62
for
So
a more famous watch.
for a more famous watch that is large. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a difference.
It is a difference.
It's a difference. There's a nice difference there.
What do you think of that difference?
I don't think it's large enough to make a stink over.
Sure,
but
especially
it
at this
is
price.
large enough to notice, and I'm okay with it. I don't think that anyone that gets allocated one of these watches is going to be annoyed that it was $10,000 more than its competitor. And keep in
Right.
mind, $20,000 more than its Rolex competitor, the Day-Day. Right, the Day-Date's a
Right.
$42,000 watch. This is a $62,000 watch. So you're paying for an extra $20,000, and it's certainly not in gold weight, and it's certainly not in movement. The movement here is just as fine, probably finer than that of the Rolex. So comping out stuff I think is very useful.
It's a difficult thing, but I would look at this as like, who's penny pinching at 62,000? But if I was penny pinching there, I'd be like this. Yeah, right. But I'd be like, this isn't 100% fair. It doesn't feel 100% fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get into the Top Gun pilot chronographs and the big Moonswatch thing, quick message from Squarespace. Squarespace, if you need a website or a domain, there's no other better place to go than Squarespace, especially if you're a young 18-year-old saying, what is up, watch fam, at a camera?
Yep. No, I think that I represent exactly. I've used Squarespace for all these years. I, as a Squarespace user, represent what is so beautiful about Squarespace. In that I have a lot of dreams and a lot of aspirations. Absolutely no, ability to build a website. No ability to design anything.
Mm-hmm.
I have none. No computer savvy. None. And yet Squarespace gave me the tools to actually get my company going, and to this day keep it running and keep it running now, scaled with, and the company does very well, and it's legitimately from an internet perspective all because of Squarespace. It's unbelievable what they did for me, and I know what they'll do for people like you guys out there that don't have the ability to build a website, or you don't have the budget to pay a high-end expensive developer tens of thousands of dollars to do it.
Yeah.
Squarespace is the solution, period, end.
So if you're interested, head to squarespace.com/Theo Harris to save 10% off your first order for a website or domain, or enter Theo Harris at checkout.
I think you really ought to get yourself a website. Do it. I don't get it.
See, I've been getting a lot of DMs about this just because I always say I want a white ceramic watch.
Yeah.
This isn't it. This is not it at all.
That's okay, so why?
45 millimeters.
That's big.
Way too big.
Okay, so if it was 40.
Still not it.
So tell me why.
Pushers, the crown, silver, cheapens it to me right away.
You want it to be ceramic.
I want it to be ceramic. They do ceramic titanium, which is like to make it a little bit tougher. The under, like, it's ceramic coated titanium, which is in cooking a lot.
Really?
Is that right?
I didn't know that.
Chef,
I didn't.
Chef Boyardee, though.
Chef Boyardee right over here.
She's been cooking a lot now.
I've been cooking a lot.
But yeah, so I feel like the pushers don't look too good, and I want to do full ceramic, so even the bracelet. But I do like that like rubber kind of thing that they have going on. But 45 millimeters, limited edition, $11,000. That's not it yet.
It's not for me. I don't like any of your white ceramic watches.
I don't like any of your ceramic watches, any of you people here.
Yeah. No, maybe not any. Maybe that's. You know what we should do? I will set some time aside, and I promise. Not that you give a shit, but I promise I will look for a white ceramic watch that I really, really get.
Cool.
Because I don't get it.
It's a tough get. I understand.
Yeah.
But when it hits, it's gonna hit.
When it hits, it's gonna hit. I like white dials.
White dials are cool.
Ceramic has a different texture, right? I mean,
so it could be very like sharp and sleek, or like a little like very not intense sandpaper.
Are there companies that use ceramic for dials, or is it gonna break?
I don't know.
And I'm just looking at it from a texture perspective, because people used to use porcelain. And porcelain dials are beautiful.
Oh, yep. See, that's the texture I'm talking about. It's kind of like a sandpaper.
Dornbluth and Sohn.
Why I upgraded my Dornbluth and Sohn 991 watch with a handmade ceramic dial.
Oh, interesting.
Introducing the Omega Seamaster dial with 300 meter now with white ceramic dial.
Oh, well, there you go. So Omega does it as well.
They do, but not a full ceramic case.
Well, there's a reason. It's horrible.
There's a thing though, like IWC makes one set of ceramic watches at 41 millimeters. Mm-hmm. If they went smaller, we reviewed this watch prior.
That's beautiful. I love the blue.
Gorgeous,
blue ceramic I'm into.
Like that, I feel like that would even pass. If it's not white, obviously, but like that, their strap is super cool.
Gorgeous.
If that was 38, perfect.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
That's all I had to say about that, just because people have been messing with me a lot. I see you, I hear you.
Michael has become synonymous with the white ceramic watch.
Hey, it's my thing in the industry.
Before we get into this Omega conversation,
yes,
let's talk about vintage watches.
Yes, we should.
Let's pull up the Theo and Harris Watch Shop, and let's do some vintage watch education.
Theo and Harris.
Because really, it's impossible, I think, to really talk about modern watches and understand, or have a point of reference, or understand the history of these collections, or anything like that, if we don't have an understanding of our forefathers, of vintage watches. So let's do that. Let's pick a couple watches to talk about.
We have two very heavily patinaed watches back to back. We have an Omega and a Felka.
This Omega has this incredibly patinated dial. Originally black and white, probably, or black and yellow, possibly.
Yep.
But it's turned to brown and gold.
Speckled brown.
Tropical speckled brown and gold, which is just out of this world good.
Yeah, it's unreal. And you got a good picture on your wrist of it.
That's what it looks like in real life.
Yeah.
That's what that watch looks like.
That's fantastic.
It's this, caramel color, basically.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's a gorgeous watch, and I mean I'm a big patina fan. If it's attractive, I think that it makes it special, and ultimately, you're not going to get much better value than Omega. Really.
Yeah, it's true. Speaking of that, this is one of my favorite Omega Seamasters that I've photographed in a while. This is an Omega Seamaster chronometer.
Yep.
Do you have any info of it, or do you know
nothing? Well, what Omega collection do you associate with chronometer? It's the Constellation.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Right? The vintage, the Constellation basically was the first collection of chronometers.
Literally, the case back is showing off that it's a chronometer. Exactly. It's showing the observatory.
Exactly. A couple of times in history, but for a brief stint in the 70s, Omega released some Seamaster chronometers.
Yes.
It was the Seamaster collection, so it was that style, not the Constellation style, but with those incredible, generally 500 series movements that were just that were hyper accurate. This was the most expensive Omega Seamaster they made at the time. But one, because they're incredibly well made and super accurate, but two, because they're incredibly rare, they become valuable and sought after.
Putting this watch on it's one of the best fitting watches I've ever worn. It's smaller than a Datejust, but in a good way, like a little bit more presence, and having it be a Seamaster and a chronometer, and having it have that Omega like eggshell dial that patinas really beautifully. That's, to me, that's why I was like, oh, this is a really nice watch.
That's one of those watches, like the John Mayer episode of Talking Watches, where he's like, look closer still, all those lines of text and all that history behind it. To me, I mean, that makes it, that makes it special. When I saw this watch, I knew that the opportunity was not going to come again anytime soon.
Yep.
I knew that was kind of it. And it's a beautiful watch, and I had to get it.
It's just beautifully made. One of my favorites.
That's why I bought that.
Huh.
You've also how about that lavender 1501? What do you think about that color?
This guy right here?
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
Insane, right?
This is what's interesting is the dial is one of the dials that I love some days and other days don't. But on this, especially with one smooth color, it looks great.
It's a color change dial. Born gray, but developed these lavender tones that are just insane.
Yeah.
Some days it looks gray, or some in lights it looks gray, but in others it's that light purple. Again, patina, right? The aging of a watch.
Yep.
But just in my opinion, in the best way possible. How do the 34mm watches fit on your wrist? The Rolexes.
Fantastic. 34mm with Rolex wears a little bit bigger, so it sits perfectly. Like Rolex is one of the companies where a 34 and a 36 are different sizes, but both robust when compared to like a thin dress watch at 34.
Oh, yeah.
Most
brands at 34 or 36, Omega being one of them, Patek, Vacheron, all those brands, they were just smaller.
Yeah.
The Rolex Oysters they were thicker, more solid, substantive watches.
Yeah.
And this is a great example. So these wear really, really well.
Agreed.
Anthony Bourdain wore 34mm Rolex.
I know.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, those are some of the watches that are available in the Theo and Harris shop.
Yep.
I've curated. I went out and looked at thousands of watches. I bought dozens of watches, sometimes hundreds of watches.
Yep.
And Michael photographs them, and we list them, and we write descriptions, and it's great.
Yep.
It's the foundation of the business. So go ahead and take a look at the Theo and Harris watch shop for some vintage watch education, some vintage watch porn, for lack of a better word.
Yep.
And you can pair it with
the Theo and Harris strap, which are handmade in Texas, Paris, Italy.
Yes.
Not in that order.
Northern,
whatever order.
Exactly.
But yeah, they're gorgeous straps. The thing, I don't curate any of this at all.
Yep.
But the nice thing about T&H straps is that they're very varied.
Yes.
So if you want a strap that's a little different than the rest, this is where I would go.
Yeah.
Especially matte alligator.
Yeah. I love skins and I love colors and, I do it with myself. I'm wearing a purple alligator strap right now.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that we have a collection of straps that are just different and, really different from the rest. If you go to most strap shops, you're seeing the same thing over and over again.
Of course.
Thing. I like to do it. You're like, hey, fuck it, let's have some fun,
And it's the best version, which is kind of...
Oh, yeah, and the quality is just remarkable on all of our straps. So, that's it. I think that we're good with the Theo and Harris shop. Head on over and take a look and shoot me an email at info@theoandharris.com. If you have any questions about any of these watches, we do trade-ins as well. We do watch servicing. So, shoot us an email, and that's it. Take a look at some watches.
So this is a little bit of a stinker. Remember the Moonswatch?
I do remember the Moonswatch. It seems like a distant, like a former life.
Yeah, right? It has a ton of demand on YouTube. Everybody's looking at it still. It's still very popular. If you are unaware, Moonswatch came out, or Swatch and Omega said we're releasing the Moonswatch, which is a Speedmaster done by Swatch, essentially. Mm-hmm. Everybody went nuts. They said it's limited. It's going to be in stores only. You can't get it online. Everybody went nuts. There was crowds. There was possibly a shooting or a stabbing.
Yes, there was a stabbing.
There was a stabbing, confirmed. Insanity.
Yep.
And then Swatch basically, right before the release, said, oh, by the way, don't worry, we're going to have these online. They're not limited, and they're good to go. Obviously, it got so crazy that day. They went from 2 watches per person to 1 watch per person. In Japan, they shut it down in general.
Wow.
Here's the deal, though. Swatch recently just said, never mind. These are not going to be online. They're just going to be in stores. So you have to go to a store to get one.
Okay. But I guess the question comes down to, will there be significant or sufficient inventory?
That's the thing.
So if I go to a Swatch store, if I make the trek, is there going to be a fucking...
The trek, because not everybody lives in New York City or somewhere where
and
it's a
even
Swatch
for me, it's 45 minutes. I don't want to go. I'm not going to go to the city unless I know.
So the big middle finger to the man being Rolex in this situation of you can't get a watch, and Omega and Swatch being like, well, you can get this watch whenever you want, and it's only $250. Is not a thing now.
It's not a thing as much. It's
Not a thing as much. Of course.
It's still cool, assuming there's inventory.
Yes.
Assuming you can actually get one.
Assuming they'll be in the store.
Yes.
Yes.
Assuming they'll be in the store and you can go to a Swatch store and get one, I'm still about it. I still think it's a great idea. Mm-hmm. I still think it's great.
Yeah.
But the no online thing, okay. Like a little bit of a. I mean,
I look at this as
not what you guys said. You guys definitely
specifically reached out like multiple times.
Yes.
That's where I look at this and I'm like we said, this is the watch release of like the decade.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge. But now it's kind of like you're fumbling a little bit. Like it was a tiny little fumble, but I was also like, I think that's a part of your marketing to like later in the release be like, oh, by the way, it's going to be available online.
Right.
But we're not really going to like shout about it. Now the whole like, well, never mind, it's not going to be available online.
Right.
It's like, what?
Well, which one is it?
Yeah, why'd you do that? Why'd you
Yeah.
take that back?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can think of any reasons. Obviously, the most blatant reason would be you just can't get the watches.
Right.
They're just going out too fast online to like put them in line.
Right. Maybe that. I mean, I guess, and I think it's probably a good decision from a corporate level, like why they're, I would assume, why they're going no online is because, people will buy it. Mm-hmm. They'll get it online. It'll take 2 seconds to buy it.
Yep.
They'll forget about it. It'll come in the mail. Nowhere. It won't be a big deal.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have to go to the store, they can kind of suck that little...
A Swatch store, right? Everything's cheap too.
Swatch store. They're sucking that extra little bit of attention, of time, of care out of you. People will still be in Swatch stores. People will probably be more likely now to buy a Swatch, not an Omega Moonswatch, but a Swatch for their, kid or whatever.
Oh, it's a cool System 51. I'll snag one of those while I'm here. I'll snag one of these while I'm here.
I mean, probably from a business POV, it was always a bad idea to sell these watches online.
Sure.
Probably always had to be in person. But I do hope the inventory is... I do hope that there's inventory. I do.
Yeah.
Because that would stink.
Yeah.
If there's no inventory. I know that the appetite is incredible, so it's going to be hard to meet the demand because the appetite is remarkable.
Exactly.
What I was going to say about the Moonswatch, I heard of fake ones being made. I couldn't find it, but I saw photos of a fake Omega Moonswatch.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, if you look at I gauge demand by a lot of things.
They'll make anything, those fuckers.
Yep.
Most people don't have these watches, even though they were trying to flip them for $2,500, $3,000. I bet you a manufacturer of fake watches can still sell them quickly for $500 a piece.
Oh yeah,
$500 to $1,000 or $5 to $900. I bet you a lot of people will scoop them up.
Well, because then it gets to the point of, do you want a fake replica of a cheap watch? Does it matter?
Right.
Do you care?
Yeah, at that point, do you just get it?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Well, I read a lot of people saying that what's interesting about the release that they did was they hyped it up so much that if they did it only online or if it was pretty easy to buy right away, instead of it being the Moonswatch, it would be like, oh yeah, that's really cool, and I threw it in my drawer and didn't care about it.
Right.
But now it's like the Moonswatch, and then limiting it more is like, okay, well it's still cool. It's not just like a chuck away thing.
Yep.
But I do think from an optics standpoint, for the most niche group of watch nerds, everybody's like, come on.
I would like to see. I'd like to see them do some celebrity placement. Would be kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
The same way that you got all these guys wearing the Tiffany Nautilus. It would be cool to see some Omega ambassadors throw on a Moonswatch.
I'd love to see anybody wear a Moonswatch.
Yeah,
because that changes everything.
I loved it. I held one and I loved it. I thought it was great. I can't wait to get one. I'm not gonna. But like I told you. Speaking of which, I can kind of tell you guys a little bit of a story while we're at it. Talking about getting watches. I'm not the kind of guy to wait on a line for anything. So
yeah, right.
I don't care that much. I'm just like, all right, I can't get it. That's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, right.
So I was this past week. I'm on a list for a very beautiful watch from a prestigious manufacturer, and when I put my name on the list, my pitch basically was, I love you guys, I love the watch, I'm not going to sell it. I know everyone says that, but the reason I'm not going to sell it is because I'm in the business, and my relationship with you is far more important than the $50,000 I could make flipping this watch.
Right.
I will never sell this watch. This is my watch forever.
Right.
I'd like to buy it. I know that I'm not a client of your brand. I've never bought a watch in one of your. I've owned your watches before, but I've never bought a watch from you.
Yep.
I know that I probably don't deserve this watch in that way. That being said, if in your review process you ever feel that I should get an allocation for whatever reason.
By the way, this is so weird to hear.
This is bizarre.
What you're saying right now for a product that you're paying
Yes,
for.
literally.
Full retail.
Paying a ton of money
Very
for it.
weird.
If you decide that, and that's great, thank you so much.
Your humble servant.
Your humble servant,
Christian
your
Zerone.
obedient servant.
Your obedient servant. that's
Christian
what it
A.
is.
Zerone.
Yeah.
So anyway, a couple of months passed. I got a call this weekend. Hey, we've got something that you should look at. We don't have what you want, but take a look at these other two pieces that are also incredible that no one can get. They're a little bit less expensive. They're actually, they're a third. They're 30% less, right?
Sure.
So
Yep.
talking about a significant sum of money less.
Yeah.
Do you want one of these? And they're great, and they're enviable, and anyone would be lucky to get one. And I basically said, thank you so much, but no.
Wait. Start again. I'll be them on the phone.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that opportunity. I really appreciate it. I don't want you to think that the generosity is lost on me. So thank you. But that watch is a little bit too small on my wrist. And as I told you, or as I had mentioned, I'm not going to sell this, and I only want one. So I'm going to hold out. And if you ever decide that I am, an eligible client for the one that I want, then I'll be very happy. And if not, then it's up, mutual respect. We're all good. I appreciate it. And I understand, but I just don't feel comfortable buying a watch that I don't want. I was going to talk to you guys. I feel comfortable buying a watch I don't want, and that's it. Thank you so much. I hope to hear from you again soon. Hang up.
There's the hottest girl in high school getting turned down by the nerd.
Yeah.
What?
Literally.
What?
What the What? And it's so anyway. That happened to me this weekend. Again,
I know that happened to them this weekend.
I know. So I said, wow. So I got the call at 10:15 in the morning. The watch was probably sold to someone else by 10:17 in the morning.
They probably texted someone like,
"Yeah, immediately."
Wow.
Again, a million guys want it, so it's not. I just and I hope that they understood that my turning the watch down was not disrespectful. I mean, I didn't say it in that way. My turning the watch down, I think, is kind of like old school industry. It's like I actually don't want the watch. I actually don't want the watch. I'm sorry.
Right,
it's a great
right.
watch. It's great, and I thank you.
I said
really
it's not
appreciate
about the money.
But I don't want that watch. I want the other watch.
Yeah.
And if you can't get it from me, that's fine. I haven't berated them. I don't call them. I don't. I don't.
Just the name's there.
If I told them when I sat down, I put my name on the list, and I said, keep in mind, I have no expectation of ever getting this call.
Right.
I am the coolest guy. I'm the coolest client in the world.
I'm the coolest guy in the world.
No, I'm the night.
I'm probably the hardest working actor. Remember
that? And that was it. So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a little insight into the conversation that I had this weekend, because people that are in the industry like me are not immune to this stuff. Sometimes you want to watch, but not that they were bullying, because they weren't at all. They were super polite. But a lot of brands do bully, and a lot of brands do make you buy other stuff, and that's just not me, right? Like, it's just not me.
Yeah, you're not going to buy that to get the other one.
No, that's just not me.
That call in the language is going to be exactly how I'm talking to Swatch about getting my mission to Mars.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that. $250 watch.
They offered you the mission to Neptune, but you want the Mars.
It's not for me. I'm not going to sell this watch. Completely silent. That's it.
So, anyway, all right.
Good luck getting a Moonswatch.
Take care, guys.